story was, what you were telling us and teaching us is that if I have met somebody and this somebody says to me, look, I want to come over to your uncles and I'm going to bring my uncles and they are going to ask for your hand in marriage, and I say yes, and my uncles and my parents and whoever agree to this date that is being set, and they sit down with these people that are coming to ask for their hand, and yes, of course, they may not have whatever it is that we're asking for, but they will have something, and they say, okay, thank you very much, this is what you want, we have this, we will leave this in the meantime, we'll come back. You are saying, oh, by the way, they say we'll come back, and they never come.
Yes.
That's important.
Very important.
And they never come back.
Yeah.
But they left something. And they promised to come back. That is, in law, a marriage.
100% correct.
And it's a particular kind of marriage.
Yes.
What kind of marriage is that?
Marriage in community of property.
Meaning, what's yours is his, what's his is yours.
Yes.
Whether you thought of it or not at the time, that's what it has become.
Correct.
So you are suggesting for those who want to go Longoza, before that happens, go and draft an agreement,
yes,
a legal agreement,
yes,
that says, look, we want to do this, but if I own a business, the business remains mine. The other one says, I have a huge pension, but it's mine, because, you know, we can start putting things together when we are ready to start this thing.
Yeah.
The approval.
Yes.
But they must have that agreement prior to the uncles visiting one another.
Correct.
Otherwise, automatically, it's a marriage in community of property.
Correct.
And so what happens when one of us meets somebody, because remember they didn't come back. One of us meets somebody and this other person proposes. And again, my uncle agreed. They agreed to see these other people. And these other people have got wonderful intentions too. Can we go ahead with that level negotiation? Remember, the other one didn't come back. What has to happen?
Even if they do, the second group of family, whatever, they come through, even if they knew that marriage existed or whatever, that marriage, second one, null and void from the beginning, ab initio, so they call it. So you need to first go back to those who didn't finish anything. In culture they say mahadi ha feli or whatever. So as a result, people tend to think that as a result there is basically no marriage. It was an engagement and all of that.
He left. He didn't come back.
Okay.
So I think where people struggle is when I go back, it's like I'm begging him to come back and finish off.
You're not. You're trying to make sure that you clear the path for the next person that's going to come.
So what must I clear? How must I clear?
You must divorce.
How? Is it registered? It's not registered.
It doesn't matter. It is not a requirement. That's another thing that we didn't really elaborate on last time.
Because the assumption is, because me and Mr. X had a sit down, the uncle sat down, and me and Mr. X didn't go to register it either at the church or at Home Affairs. We never signed anything.
Yes.
We are then making the assumption there's no record of this union. So let's pretty much forget it ever happened. You're saying it doesn't matter? It
doesn't matter. It is not a requirement.
What is it that keeps this arrangement together? The piece of paper?
The piece of paper that the family signs at that initial meeting there. Wherein Bomalume, who was still alive, they said the affidavit that confirmed that no, I was there on that particular day. We agreed that Mahadi is going to be 100 rand. but then we were only able to pay 50 cents on that day.
But what if both of us don't want this thing? We don't want this thing, we want to move on with our life.
It exists. Please get rid of it. Because even though emotions would be high, or even if there's no emotions whatsoever, we just move on. Upon this person marrying and whatnot, I guess there's nothing registered. So the assumption is that there's no legal binding anything.
Yes.
You forget that sometimes there's a child born of this union.
Yes. Okay, well, let's say there's no child.
Okay.
And really, me and Eddie are just not doing this anymore. It's okay. They came, we drank, we ate. He never came back.
What I see in practice, unfortunately, even when there's no kids, right? What I see in practice is that when X dies, Pamela always remembers, this person. And then they go and say,
And present themselves as a
yes, and say, don't forget.
Then let's pause right there, because that's also very interesting. So let us say there never was a lobola negotiation.
Okay.
But there was a fat and sitting situation.
Yes.
Is that also commitment of sorts?
So cohabitation, it is not a recognized anything in our law. There's no such thing as common law wife. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard this
People
term
say that
so many times.
We were living together for 3 years.
Therefore,
yes.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a common law wife. Please do not think that because you're living with X, Y, and Z, or you've lived with them for 6 months, whatever the case may be, that you are now regarded as a wife in the law. No, you are still girlfriend.
No way.
You are still girlfriend.
Oh my word.
So X can do whatever he or she likes with his or her property, even though you are living in it, because you are not married.
So, even when the person dies and you were living with them for, as you're saying, X amount of years, it means nothing. What is it?
So now there's a twist. Because we are doing this fat and set thing, avoiding the consequences of marriage, whether customary, civil, whatever. What we are now forgetting is that we are living together, and we are maintaining each other in one form or another. Ne?
Yes, we are cohabiting, meaning we're living together and expenses sometimes are shared.
Correct.
Or there's dependency.
Yes. Now, X dies. When X dies.
Maybe X had said to me, just a woman.
I've got you.
Just look pretty.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
And then I resign.
You stay home.
And look pretty.
Mm.
And then he dies. Then what?
You know what you can do?
Mm-hmm.
You now have access to his pension funds and provident funds.
And then the sisters come.
And they're like, but they were not married.
And
how does she have a right over the things?
The family says, no, Manaruna never married you.
Mm-hmm.
He was never going to marry you anyway.
Yes.
So what happens then?
You now have a right to claim against his pension fund.
So the only reason the claim happens is because you were a dependent.
Correct.
Financial dependent.
Yes.
Not because you are deemed to be married.
No.
Gotcha.
No. So usually there's proof, because if you're going to be sitting and looking pretty, money is transferred into your account,
yes.
right? Yes. So you can prove.
Or you're given a second duplicate.
Exactly. So you can prove that I was being maintained. And here's the proof. I was being maintained at 20,000 Rand per month for the past 3 years. And I haven't worked in those 3 years. Or even if you were employed, it's fine. But you were being maintained at 20,000 Rand. As such, I have a right to claim. And then you go and you do your claim.
What if the one that dies is the one that was unemployed?
Yeah.
What happens there? So in other words, you are sitting, and the one that dies is unemployed.
Yeah.
Do they have a claim to you who was maintaining this home? The family. Can they say, Bona, our child has died. In fact, our child used to maintain us via your money. You see what I mean?
Okay,
because
I see.
Happen. It does happen where the one that gets the allowance has maybe got siblings at home or a home where no one's working. and in that 20,000 rand shares a piece of that 20,000 rand with a sibling maybe that's still at school. Okay? And then they die. Meaning they die with the allowance.
Yeah.
Is there a way in which the family that has just lost this beloved, they can say, well, the other partner used to support our sibling. Can you carry on, please?
No. They don't have the right of recourse in that way. There's no legal way that it can be binding. I'm sure somebody can try. We'll wait and see what the law might say eventually, but for now there is no legal stance that the third party.
So families cannot then be beneficiaries
Correct.
to that union.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you seen there's a voice note coming through?